Hi,
And
Catherine.
so nice to see everyone online today. And we thought we'd come on, and there's new people following Hagar USA that we haven't met before. And we thought we'd share a little bit about who we are, the faces and the names behind the emails and everything that you're receiving, and share a little bit about what got us into this work in the first place. So, Catherine, why don't you go first? Yeah.
Sure.
Catherine's the executive director at Hagar USA. But yeah, what got you involved in the first place?
Yeah, I think it's important sometimes to just know who are these people and why do they care about what's going on overseas. And um, I haven't been doing this quite as long, but in 2012, I was working for a different kind of nonprofit, that like a healthcare nonprofit, and just really wanted to do something that was a little more hands-on, a little more meeting immediate needs, and I was doing some research into what that would mean. I was living in Charlotte at the time and looking into some places around Charlotte that worked with youth, kind of wanting to use my own skill set. I have a journalism degree and knew that I could do some communications and development type of work from what I knew. And it was one of those really interesting turn of events. A person at my church knew someone else who was going to be going overseas, and she was friends with the sister of who was the actual current CEO of Hagar International at the time. Um, Sort of a convoluted way, but I had lunch with her, and there she told me about this position that might be available and she just said at Hagar. So connected me with the Hagar USA team, and that's when I learned that it was going to be in Cambodia. When you're in your early 20s, it doesn't really matter where you are, and if you're an adventurous spirit, that sounded exciting to me. So I applied for the job and I got it. I did fundraising for it. It was a self-supported role, and then 6 weeks later I was on a plane. um, and I'd never been to Southeast Asia before. I actually, Amy here, our very own Amy, picked me up at the airport when I landed in Phnom Penh, took me to lunch at
Yeah.
Hagar used to have a catering facility and a lunch facility there. Took me to lunch there and stayed with some of her dear friends while I figured out where I was going to live, um, and started working with Hagar. And I think I've said multiple times, but once you see the work that's being done and once you see transformation happening, once you meet someone who's come through Hagar's care and see the just the joy that can come after such trauma, it's really hard to ever not want to do this work. It's really hard to not try your hardest. Like I knew that I wanted to make sure that people knew about what was happening, that people could support it. Because so it's hard work that our counselors and case managers do every day, but it's good work. And these are cases that other people say no to. They're hard, but there's this real change and transformation happens. So that's what brought me into the work of Hagar, and it is 2024, and here I am. So
Like sucks you in and just keeps you there forever. Hey.
just just always going to want to come back to it. Yeah. So Amy, you tell me what got you invested in Hagar?
Yeah, something that really stuck out when you were sharing your own story is this notion of adventure. And that's how I ended up in Cambodia in the first place, way back ago. I'm going to end up dating myself, which I'm hesitant to do these days. But my husband and I went to Cambodia on a whim. He had an internship, a paid internship for 1 year.
Mm.
And it just felt like the most glorious adventure of our lives. You know, we were sort of untethered. We didn't own a house yet. We were very young, you know, in our mid 20s, and it just felt like the perfect time to go and try something new,
Mm.
you know, to go and explore a bit about a bit of the world. And so I didn't know about Hagar then. We moved to Cambodia for my husband's job, and I very quickly heard about Hagar, though,
Mm.
as a trusted aftercare agency in Cambodia at that time, an organization that was known to walk the whole journey of restoration and healing with a lot of young children at that time, women
Mm.
and children both, who'd suffered some of the worst forms of abuse that you can imagine. And the I don't know, someone who, I mean, also have a journalism degree, Catherine, someone who, you know, wanted to be able to somehow serve the world, you know, who
Mhm.
was a, who was sort of drawn to these stories. Um, it Hagar felt like it could be a good match, you know, for the skills and talents that I could bring to the world, and also the needs that the world had at that time.
Mm.
So yeah, so I actually started volunteering with Hagar. I heard about it, could see its signage, you know, around town and put on pen. I was reading books, trying to understand Cambodia's genocide, trying to understand human trafficking and modern day slavery. And Hagar kept coming up over and over and over again in these books. And so I reached out as a volunteer. And then one thing led to another, as so often does when you're
Mm.
volunteering or interning with an organization and you're committed to the cause, you know, sometimes that can work into a job. And that's what happened. And yeah, I can say with utter confidence that experiencing and witnessing these stories of transformation has transformed my own. You know, it has, and there's a real it's a real honor and privilege to be able
Mm.
to be part of that. So that's how I got started with Hagar. So yeah,
Ah, I love that. I like the notion of walking into something with your skill set and bringing what you can to an issue that feels really big. And I think that's what's really important for everybody here. Anybody who wants to be involved. It, we're two people that had journalism degrees. I was a public relations journalism degree and got some nonprofit after that. But like utilizing that skill set you already have to do something in a world that feels like it's for mostly counselors and case managers, but there's work to be done with any skill set. We have people who are helping us with finance and
yeah,
administration, with IT work.
yeah,
I think it's we can use any skills.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's um, it's yeah, I think it's tempting to think that in nonprofits it's only the work of experts, this
Mhm.
particular like technical skill, but that's not true. You
Mhm.
know, we all have a role to play, and there's a lot of room to bring our creative selves, you know, and the skill sets that we do have to this work. So we would love to hear any questions um, uh, from you. Um, I'll post in the coming days and ask me anything slide in our stories, but please, we're wanting to hear from our supporters and from our audience what your questions are for Catherine, for myself, about Hagar's work, about how your generosity is utilized. So go ahead and post away in the comments right now during this live, of course, and we'll respond. But um, yeah, we do want to be engaging with you and hearing what is it about these stories that are resonating with you? How can you get involved maybe in a deeper way?
And I think the other thing what you were just saying is that we're going to start doing this more often. I think it's been a good way to engage, and we've seen people seem to like it. So we'll be around, and we want to know what you want to know about. Um,
Totally.
Telling you about ourselves, but post comments, post questions. We'll respond to them if we can immediately, but if not, we can always talk about it in our next live and answer some common questions that get asked. I think we want to make sure that it's helpful for you as our partners in this work.
Totally. Yeah. So please ask away, get in contact with us. And we'll see you on the next one. We're hoping to do this every couple of weeks, sort of learn as we go a bit. So any topics that you want covered, please let us know.
Yeah.
All
Wonderful.
right. Well, thanks for listening to our stories, friends.
Thank you all. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.